Hello guys, it's me, Alf Simpson Booker here. In today's, we're going to do a video on showing most of my blank DVDs. So these are this is probably part one of the collection, excluding, pirated DVDs people made and that. But I want to do a video showing the discs I made, from when I was a kid years ago, because, you're going back a lot of time when I have stuff like this, because I've got absolutely loads still what I made. So I want to, explain what sort of stuff I grew up with years ago, and we'll go from there. So start of all, these discs, as you can see, the HP discs is the discs, you get from the cheap market. So basically, they're pretty much like pirate DVDs, but how I used to pirate these was off TV channels a lot of the time. There might be a few what are not, but, I'll go through every single one and explain about it. So this is going to be a long video, but yes, so you've got Scary Movie, which is a fantastic horror film. Grew up with it as a kid. What was my first introduction to Scary Movie? Probably when I was really young. I was nowhere near the actual demographic for it. That's for sure. So you're probably looking at Sky Movies days. So probably 2014 or something. I think I think someone in the family must have taped the earlier Scary Movie films, and I think that's why. And because I remember the third one growing up, so that's why. And you know what I mean? And it's years later when I was in 2020, I think, when I found the proper DVDs of it, I was like, that was a really good film. So yeah, that made sense why I copied that, because that is a good film. And yeah, that's actually a 5-star recording. And the best part about it, it has adverts for John Wick Chapter 4 on that one. So yeah, you're looking at 2023, but yeah, this was just a big thing for me, that film. So you know what I mean? But I still think, anyway, Ted is the first, full-on 15 film I ever watched, because I never watched Scary Movie all the way through or out. It was just the end credits to the third film I remember, before proper watching it. But yeah, I say in my early teens, I did grow up with these anyway, so yeah. Scrub Season 5, I don't know why I made it. It's quite weird, but the first 15 episodes, that was when 4Music was a thing. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. That probably was because I saw Fast and Furious 9, because that's a really good film. Monsters vs. Aliens, DreamWorks film. We had it on pirate, I'm pretty sure we did. Charles Lucky Day, that got taped for no reason. Horrible Histories, the movie. I think that's because of... that would have been because of CPA years ago. So, yeah, that was probably why that's there. Ella Enchanted, Made in Manhattan. I don't know why I recorded some of these. The Carrie remake, that made sense because as a kid, I would love Screen Gems films for whatever reason. I don't know why, but yeah. And Red Dragon, which is incomplete. Yeah, that's probably because the disc was filled. Scrubs Season 5 Disc 2. Yeah, I've already mentioned it, but it's a bit fucked, this disc, because I think my parents must have, not my parents, but, my nana must have, accidentally finalised it, so that's why it looks a bit off. So you've got episode 16, 17, pretty much 16 to 19. So, yeah, so that's why it looks a bit weird there. Flushed Away, yeah, made sense why I pirated that. Alderman film, classic DreamWorks film, was off Over the Hedge DVD, at least on the previews. Billionaire Boy, Mr. Stink, I can't remember why I did those. Spider-Man 2, grew up with Spider-Man, the earlier Marvel films as a kid, so made sense. And Salt, Angelina Jolie, I actually remember that film quite well, because how I see it with that movie, because I know as a kid, I was an underage kid when I watched all these early 2010 adult films. You know, what you shouldn't be seeing at cinemas. Because none of these I saw at cinemas as a kid. And even if we did, we would have had the pirate versions anyway. You know, someone, releasing them online and that. That's why I did that video the other day, with the Bond Steelbook. Because, like I say, I've got a massive thing growing up with them sort of stuff. But, like, Salt is one of these movies. I remember I taped off Channel 4 at my nana's house because we had a strict routine when I used to stay there on Friday night. So I used to be allowed to tape, adult films like that. So, hey, and at least as well, that is the actual recording I grew up with. Well, not the actual recording, but Salt was on Channel 4 years ago in like 2014 or something, and I think this is like a Film 4 showing, but it's pretty much the showing. Funny enough, I remember it, so yeah, glad about that one. Empire State, The Hunt for Red October, Hummingbird, I don't remember much about those. Angels and Demons, The Woman in Black, Simpsons, great show. I think there will be a few Simpson ones in here, to be quite fair. Mission Impossible 2 and 3 in Adam's Family Values credits. I don't know why I take that, but Mission Impossible 2 and 3, yeah, I grew up with Mission Impossible as a kid, the original film. It might be in here, to be fair. We'll find out. Anyway, Santa Who, Pokemon, that's probably Detective Pikachu. Yeah, probably the only interesting Pokemon thing I've got in here. I've got that on Steelbook now. Aeroplane, The Mitchells versus the Machines. So, interesting enough, how I copied Mitchells versus the Machines. That might be a 2022 recording, so it is years ago anyway. But everyone else saw it on Netflix and that. However, I never, because I was in a fucking shit class as a kid. Like, I had a absolute shit childhood, so I had to pirate it. So, yeah. American Werewolf in London, that's actually the pre-cert tape, which, in case you didn't know, on my old channel, I did do VHS swap shop business videos, I think, and the guy who sent me it, the tape, Danny, got so pissed off I made a pirate copy of it, but I don't really give a fuck because, I had it on disc. Nothing is going to stop me from doing it, and it's like, yes, I know, it was so illegal because there was no BBFC rating. If I still have a few pre-cert, like, proper VHS tapes, I'll definitely do a separate video. But, like, it makes sense. And Unfaithful, I grew up with that because my auntie had it and it had the Centropy intro on it. So, look back on one of my old videos for that one. But, yeah, that's a Film 4 recording. Night at the Museum, Hook, and Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard. Okay, American Pie 2. This is an old Sky Movies recording. So, yeah. Loved American Pie. Like, comedies as a kid, I just loved. So, yeah. That's why that's in here. The Meg, Rayman, and Monsters University. Okay, Meg, we was going to get on DVD as a kid, but we never, because Sky was taking the piss. I think my sister was going to get it, but never. Rayman, that's apparently about me. In Monsters University, I grew up with Monsters Inc. as a kid, and Legally Blonde and You Got Mail. I don't know why I've taped that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Family Guy Season 1 and 10 Things I Hate About You off Sony Movies. Oh, Emoji Movie. This is a good one. So, Emoji Movie is a movie I was supposed to have saw at the cinemas as a kid. Okay, I know I said a lot of movies in here are underage films, but Emoji Movie was a kids film. Like, this big kids film I wanted to see as a kid. Like, this really pissed me off, and my family is never going to fucking learn from it, because if I've still got the disc in here to another movie they've let me down on, I'll talk about that as well, but I'll talk about Emoji Movie first. So, one day in the summer, pretty much everyone in my family went to see the Emoji Movie in the cinemas, and I got bummed out. I got absolutely bummed out. I couldn't go. And they think, you're not going to handle it at the cinemas. Well, fucking guess what? You don't fucking know. I grew up with, pirate copies of, like, Toy Story 3, Madagascar 3, or all those others what got fucking given to me years ago, and you guys don't fucking remember. It really bummed me out, and, like, the only way I've witnessed this movie from when that movie come out was my fucking sister who pirated the movie at the cinemas. Yeah, she knew what to do. She recorded bits for me. Like, I think one bit she recorded was like the poo emoji. And it's fucking ridiculous, if you ask me. They should have took me to see it. But, like, it was a fucking joke. She even recorded the end credits as well. And just let you know, why haven't I uploaded the Emoji Movie? Sadly, it's lost. The footage is all lost because this was too long ago. Like, otherwise I would have uploaded it. But, like, the thing is, my sister always used to get in trouble for doing pirated movies. But, like, Emoji Movie, she never got in trouble for it. She snuckily got away with it. Like, the credits was not long, what she recorded. It might have been, like, the shortest credit video ever in history. Like, she uploaded it to Snapchat and everything. It was so ridiculous. Comic Relief, Alien Resurrection, and Shirley Valentine. Oh, and just like you know, with Emoji Movie, how did I see it properly? Well, it took me, like, 2 years. So it was a fucking joke. And I think my parents was going to get me it for Christmas of 2017, I'm pretty sure. Because I used to buy and keep movies off Sky Store. I couldn't with Emoji Movie because that was when I lived at my nana's years ago. So, couldn't. So, yeah. So, that's what happened there. So, yeah. Always... film like that is just insane. Blues Brothers, Jaws, Family Guy. Not a lot to say about that disc about Family Guy, because some of these were like one episode, so I've wasted time. Kingsman: The Secret Service, Jurassic Park. Grew up with the first film. The Contactor, I think it is. War of the Worlds, Passenger 57. Captain 1, Father of the Bride, and... don't know what that says. Bulk Wake. What disc's this? The next Karate Kid, Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. Grew up with Karate Kid, by the way. And I said about Mission Impossible, grew up with that. Cocktail, Rambo First Blood, Forbidden Kingdom, Days of Thunder, and Cape Fear. Love Actually, Mary Poppins Returns. Funny enough, with Love Actually, I did grow up. Well, not grew up, but we did have that on Pirate. So, yeah. 28 days later. 28 years later, the credits video for that. I'll make sure that's uploaded for you guys. But 28 days later, funny enough, I grew up with it because I had it on VHS as a kid. And this was way before the BBFC reclassified the movie and everything. And this is a 5-star recording of 28 Days Later, so that could be rare, by the way. So, yeah, I'm glad I've got it because that could be a hipster find that. The Terminator in Scream 2. I loved the Scream franchise as a kid, so made sense why I've recorded the second film. Gone in 60 Seconds Life. Action movies like that was my thing. The Talking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 and Swordfish. What's that? The Man in the Iron Mask. That's probably the Leonardo DiCaprio one. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Sister Act 2. Yeah, I did grow up with that. Oh, Rocky 3. I think I did grow up with the Rocky films as a kid. I can't remember. Adrian. This Means War. How I Spent My Summer Vacation. The Guest. Conan the Destroyer. Safe House. I don't know why I recorded some of these Denzel Washington films. Like, I think he's a shit actor in my opinion. Don't know why I did that. Jumper the Mask of Zorro. That should go in the bin because that is not a good disc, that. In-Betweeners Movie 2. We did have that on DVD years ago, so that made sense why I pirated it. Red Heat. That's probably the Arnie film. Family Guy episode. Good Day to Die Hard, Conan the Barbarian, Family Guy. I've got so many Family Guys. I'll explain about that. Jack Reacher, Death Race. Oh, I've got In Between This movie, the first one. The writing on that is so shit, by the way. Ride Along 2. I did grow up with that as a kid, I think. Sing. I actually liked the first Sing movie as a kid because with Sing, I borrowed a proper DVD off my auntie, so I waited till it come on, actual TV, then taped it, years ago. The reason why I don't do stuff like this now, and I could only do VHSs now, because this was all when I used to have a special VHS and DVD combo, and these discs now don't work on it anymore, so it's a massive shame. All these discs here are finalised, but, if I wanted to make more, I can, if you know what I mean. Okay, Panic Room, Family Guy. So the reason why there's so many Family Guy episodes, because I grew up with it as a kid. Family Guy was a massive part of my childhood, and I'm sure it is to everyone else's, because everyone used to sneak up and watch it. It was one of my favourite shows as a kid, because I loved every bit of it. It's an absolute classic show, and I highly recommend it to you guys. So, yeah. Mr. Bean Nigger Nurse episode. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. That's probably because of Mr. Bean Uncut. The Gain, Face Off. Yeah, I grew up with Face Off because that was one of those first DVDs I found in Morrison's years ago in 2019. Deadpool, that is a really good film, Deadpool. Yeah. And if you guys wondered, was this because of Deadpool and Wolverine? Funny enough, no. This was way before that come out. Probably when I bought Deadpool on 4K years ago. King Arthur, Deep Blue Sea, Family Guy. Again, great show. Love Family Guy. Scooby-Doo as well. Did grow up with a bit of Scooby as a kid, though. And that's the one when Brian Griffin died. Ants, Christmas with the Cranks and Deck the Halls. Candyman, Street Fighter. Street Fighter's a good film with Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. Lake Placid. Terminator 3, Rise Machines, Layer Cake, and Mission Impossible. Why have I taped some of these films again? I don't get it. Love Island, I don't know why I taped that. I think it does have a bit of Bob's Burgers on it, so I'll keep it anyway. Bad Boys, okay. I do love Bad Boys Ride or Die, but that was way before that. Paranormal Activity 5. I'm glad I've taped it because it is a Blumhouse film, so yeah. Twister, After Earth, so yeah. I seem to have been the right age at doing this because you can tell I was proper into films. Amazing Spider-Man 2, The Holiday, Long Shot. I used to love Seth Rogen films as a kid, so made sense why I made that one. Baby Driver, The Cleveland Show. I still know what you did last summer. Okay, honestly, I will definitely be pissed off if the new one is an 18. Like I am with Bring Her Back. I just don't want the family to buy me I Know What You Did Last Summer, the new one, because of reasons. But I am glad I did tape I Still Know What You Did off 5-star, because it was one of those major horror films. Because if I could say, if you don't know Scary Movie, that's how you don't know what they were spoofing. The Karate Kid Part 2. I don't know what this says. Got Sister Act on it, though. Pixels. That is a good film. Well, I can't remember. Did I see Pixels at cinemas years ago? I don't think I did. Okay, White Chicks. That is a fantastic film. And White Chicks is the movie as well. Me and Harry laughed at because BBFC were drunk on it. Planet of the Apes, Land of the Dead, and Jet Li's The One. Scrubs again. Tom Hanks Day. That would have been some of Tom Hanks' films as a marathon. I got Disco Music videos. White House Down. Inferno. Dude, Where's My Car? Signs. That's a good film. And we've got Maggie. Echoes of Fear. Desperado. It Could Happen to You. Eat, Pray, Love. I've got 2 copies of that because one of them's not the greatest condition. Family Guy episodes again. Love Family Guy. Grew up with it. Cliffhanger, Erin Brockovich. What's this one? Police Academy, Rush Hour, Dodgeball. Yeah, Rush Hour, classic film. Stuart Little, SpongeBob SquarePants, 2012 Ransom. Pretty much all these are childhood films I grew up with. Last disc on Freeview TV. That's interesting. Dirty Grandpa, Step Brothers. Step Brothers was because Seth Rogen was in it. Rat Race, The Hulk. Sausage Party. So there it is. That's the original disc of Sausage Party because I mentioned it on my pirate DVD video. I grew up with it. I snuck up to watch it. That's the disc I've been finding for I don't know how long. I'll definitely do a video on that because me talking about Sausage Party as a review, that'll definitely change you guys' lives. It would. Because that is one of my favourite films as a child. Trust me. And I don't care if I was so young enough to even have known about the film. I grew up with Ted. I grew up with Family Guy. Sausage Party just changed everything. It was even one of my very first 4Ks as well. Funny enough. Old School, Over the Hedge, Family Guy. Yeah, Over the Hedge. Great film as a kid. I grew up with that. And Old School, that was so hilarious. We're going streaking! Rise of the Foot Soldier Part 4. Rambo Last Blood. Creed. Creed's good film. Simpsons. Kill Bill. Loved Kill Bill as a kid. Yes, I know I shouldn't have been taping Kill Bill off Sky, but I did. Hotel Transylvania, Craft, Bodyguard. Yeah, funny enough, these are not the original recordings to some of them how I grew up with. These are from many years later, like a couple of years later, but the thing was that years ago, that's how it was in the early 2010s. Sky was the thing if none of us were doing copies, you know what I mean? Big Bang Theory, Simpsons, Ugly Truth, Big Fish, Late Night Simpsons. I got so many Simpsons in here. American Pie, Majestic, Simpsons, Bad Boys for Life. Yeah, that was the one we did get from Tesco and I copied it. Just Go With It. Family Guy, Talladega Nights, Pineapple Express, Sex Tape. Sex Tape, not a good film. That's the disc for Pineapple Express when I uploaded all those clips years ago. There's the disc for the Mission Impossible film and the Smurfs. The better Smurfs film. So, yeah. So, what I've been told. Happy Feet, grew up with that. No Time to Die. Absolutely masterpiece film, and I know it's a newer film. How the fuck did I copy No Time to Die? Well, it was on ITV in 2022, so that was years ago anyway. So No Time to Die is a really good film, and it's like I had to record that. As much as I grew up with James Bond films as a kid, it just changed it for me. I should have saw it at the cinemas, but I had to isolate when that film came out, which is disgusting. Jaws the Revenge, Too Fast, Too Furious, Simpsons. I got so many discs, by the way, so I'm letting you guys have a look. Because this video is getting too long now. Hollow Man, Lake Placid again. Fire Down Below, Eraser. Assassin's Creed, I take that because my cousin went to see that in the cinema years ago, and that was a big thing for me, that. 300, This Is Sparta, Family Guy, The Muppets, Scooby-Doo again. So many discs, as you can see. Incredible Hulk, Rush Hour 2, Football Factory. I've made so many DVDs, and it's insane. Okay, Rita Sue and Bob 2, Final Destination, and Secret Life of Pets. This was years ago, but that was on Christmas night. So I was so wanting to record Rita Sue and Bob 2, and everyone was going super mad. Why the fuck would I do this? Honestly, I was so interested in it as a kid because I heard good things about it. So yeah, that was taped off like talking pictures, and Final Destination come on a few minutes after because I taped it off 5-star. Yeah, it's awesome. Got a few Bond films in here. License to Kill. Yeah, you can't mess with that. You Got Mail. Chappie, that's the one with the dodgy aerial on it. Karate Kid, The Simpsons. 21 Grands. Some of these don't make sense why I've done it. District 9, that made sense because I had that on Pirate years ago. Jackass Presents Bad Grandpa, that is fucking hilarious because I did watch Jackass Forever and that was off a copy. Rick and Morty on here as well, that's funny. Bullfest, 10 Things I Hate About You, Hostel, Exit Wounds. Yeah, Hostel was a big war for me to have on Pirate, as well as Exit Wounds. I fucking enjoyed that film. Sister Act, Snake Eyes, The Stepfather. Yeah, Screen Gems films. John Wick Chapter 2. So yeah, I even grew up with John Wick. Harry will be pleased. I've grew up with the John Wick franchise. The only issue about this version of Chapter 2 is that it's the cut version. That's the only bad thing about it, but hey, I'm glad I grew up with it as a kid. Must be the lucky John Wick fan out there to do so. Get Shorty, Anaconda, I Spy. We're nearly there now already, so we've got Spy Kids, Scary Movie 2. These are some of the better Scary Movie sequels. I did say I grew up with Scary Movie 3. Simpsons, Trials Howard IX. That might be the best one, to be fair. Superbad. Loved that film as a kid. Classic movie. That movie was the one what did cause spirits of how anyone would sneak into movies because if any movie's ID, I'm going to post the Nick Loving thing. That never gets old because some people do that. I know some people go really angry about it, but that was funny. And there's even another Superbad because one of these is taped off the BBC, while the other one is the original one I grew up with as a kid. So some of them are the original recordings, some of them are not. The ones are not are like the ones from like 2014 and that. Because how the fuck would I knew I was making DVDs Jack and Jill, laugh my ass for doing that one. Pet Sematary, Family Guy, SWAT. French are fucking bastards. Harry will know that because that was when England got kicked out of football. So that made sense. And you got Bad Boys 2 on there. So that's it. You've got all the Bad Boys films apart from Ride or Die. Magnificent Seven. I shouldn't be recording Denzel Washington films. Gareth versus Rhea. That made no sense. I should be scribbling that one off. The Shallows. Big Mama's House 2. City Slickers. Good Day to Die Hard. Big Mama's House. There's so many in here. 2 Weeks Notice. The Alamo. What's that? Legends of the Fall. Volcano, Karate Kid. Looks like we've got all the Karate Kids on here. Legally Blonde 2. ITV2 stuff. That's probably Family Guy. Die Hard 3. You guys know who Die Hard 3 even is? Hancock, Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Home Alone, Pitch Black. Conjuring, The Conjuring 2, Sausage Party, and The Simpsons movie. Okay, the Conjuring movies were taped back to back in 2021. Sausage Party was the very first showing from Dave, I think, because that was how I originally found out about that film being shown on TV. And Simpsons movie, I caught that afterwards because Sausage Party and The Simpsons movie I had originally off a VHS tape, so that's how I copied it. Same with Simpsons movie. It's just the Conjurings, they're in DVD quality. And this final DVD, there's Hancock and Once Upon a Time, and yeah. But this final DVD changes history from why my channel was so massive, because this was the disc of most of the footage from the cinema I used to go to, and I burned everything onto it. Well, not everything, but what I could onto it. But I'm going to try hide the name, but this has like 29 recordings of cinema content on here because Harry, do you know what? I'm going to give it away. Me and Harry, as a kid would release Partway Pigs content and we would always do it. And this was the big thing as a kid, like years ago. This was how my channel got views. And because my channel got terminated, that's why I made it as a DVD. And this is probably one of the last things I made on DVD because of my channel getting terminated. But this is the very first phase of recordings I made, because this would have had stuff like Space Jam: A New Legacy, because this was stuff what I used to hit K views on it. Like, I used to hit K views even if some of the end credits were incomplete. Like, he loved it. Like, I used to be the one what used to record it all, but like, it had some of the best stuff on it. Like, Bullet Train, was so massive because I leaked that movie out early. Basically, this should go with my cam copy files, you know, with pirate DVDs, because it should go in that section, because I know this ain't gonna get tampered with all right, but like, this had so much content on it, because it was like Bullet Train I did, there was Violent Night, I could just keep going on and on, but I can't remember how many exactly it goes up to, but it's definitely not ones like Five Nights at Freddy's or out. These would have been ones you guys would have known from when I was a lot younger. It might have Megan on it, I don't know. But there you have it. These are just some of the discs I still have. There is a few more, but I'll do those in another video. But I wanted to make sure I fetched a video for the night for you guys, because you guys love my channel. You guys love piracy, and you guys will definitely be happy that I made so much stuff, either from the cinema or TV. None of us cared, you know what I mean? And I know what you're going to say. If you've released the Partway pics, why don't you do the Odeon Lincoln DVDs? Well, the reason why I never did for Odeon Lincoln, because the sources to the guy who merged all the Parkway recordings together, I don't speak to anymore, because he whipped me off on a couple pirates. Sausage Party Foodtopia, for example. So that's why I don't speak to him now. So that's why you're never going to get a DVD like that ever again. You know, you're never going to get an Odeon Lincoln DVD, because I'd definitely be willing to do so, because you know what I mean? Odeon Lincoln, they never gave a flying fuck. Like, if you guys remember, like, Day at Odeon Chapter 1, videos like that, you guys know they're lazy. Shall I sneak in to bring it back? Maybe. Maybe I could, but like, honestly, I've changed from a person from that. But you guys understand why I used to pirate, you know, as a kid, and, you know, used to sneak in movies, because my childhood was so shit. Honestly, that's why, if it wasn't for that, none of this would have happened. So, there you go. And also, if I never went to the cinemas, I may not have saw Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, you got to think of that one. See you guys in the next one.